I got to tell you, it's concerning. It is. Unless the Indiana Fever is trying to play some kind of chess here, it sounds like Caitlin Clark's going to be out a while. All right.
Somebody finally told the truth when it comes to the Indiana Fever. And it wasn't from Amber Cox. It wasn't from Kelly Crosskoff. It wasn't from Stephanie White. It came in the form of ABC broadcaster, sideline reporter, Holly Rowe.
The basketball world has been holding its breath, and now we finally have answers. ESPN just dropped major news about when Caitlin Clark will return to the Indiana Fever. And trust me, this timeline is going to surprise you. If you've been wondering when the rookie sensation will be back on the court after her groin injury, stick around because we're breaking down everything you need to know. Caitlin Clark has been sidelined for 4 straight games with a right groin injury, leaving fans desperate for any update on her return. The Indiana Fever have managed to stay competitive without their star player, but everyone knows the team needs Clark back if they want to make a serious playoff push. During a recent ESPN broadcast, insider Holly Rowe shared crucial information about Clark's recovery timeline that has everyone talking. Here's what makes this situation so interesting. This isn't Clark's first groin injury this season. She previously dealt with a left groin issue, and according to ESPN's reporting, the Fever made a critical mistake with her initial return. Clark apparently came back too quickly, practicing on a Monday and playing the very next Tuesday without adequate preparation time. Head coach Stephanie White has admitted they didn't give Clark enough practice or ramp-up time during her first comeback, and they're determined not to repeat that error.
Holly Rowe was on the sideline and shared what I think was an enlightening report on Caitlin Clark's status. Basically, she said that Stephanie White thought that they didn't get enough time to ramp her up or get her in practice time the last time around. And this time around, they're going to take an even more cautious approach, which is in line with what I had gathered and what I had heard. Now, Rowe emphasized that this is a day-to-day monitoring situation, but I thought it was noteworthy that she pointed out the 3rd week in August.
The new approach is all about patience and proper preparation. White emphasized that this time around, they want Clark to have multiple consecutive days of practice to regain her rhythm and timing with teammates before returning to game action. This more cautious strategy is actually smart, considering Clark has dealt with multiple injuries this season, and the team needs her healthy for the playoff stretch. So when exactly will we see Clark back in action? ESPN's reporting points to the 3rd week of August as the realistic window for her return. We're talking about somewhere around August 15th, which gives Clark nearly a month to fully recover and properly prepare. While her specific groin injury might not typically require this much time, the extended timeline serves a bigger purpose. The real goal isn't just healing this particular injury. Clark has likely already recovered from the immediate groin problem. Instead, the Fever are focused on preventing future soft tissue injuries and ensuring she's as healthy as possible for the crucial playoff run. This approach makes perfect sense when you consider the bigger picture.
Why have you, the franchise, not spoken about this? Why have you, the franchise, not been forthcoming and transparent with the situation? Instead, you play a game. You make people think, oh, maybe she'll be back. Maybe she'll be back. For the people that will believe it, I won't believe it, but there are people that would believe it and have tickets and want to go to games and all that stuff and want to see her play. Well, you're lying to them. You've been lying to them. And Holly Rowe just exposed the entire country, the entire world, that Caitlin Clark won't be back for probably 3 more weeks.
Looking at the Fever schedule provides even more insight into this timeline. The team faces a challenging stretch with games every 2 days, making it nearly impossible to get adequate practice time. They have upcoming games on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, creating a brutal schedule that wouldn't allow for proper preparation. The timing becomes even more strategic when you examine their upcoming road trip. The Fever are about to embark on a 4-game Western road trip, and bringing Clark back during this stretch would be counterproductive. Traveling while trying to rehab and practice would compromise her recovery process. It makes much more sense for her to stay home, focus on rehabilitation, and rejoin the team when they return for their homestand. This means Clark will likely return during the Fever's home games against teams like Chicago, Dallas, and Washington. These home games provide the perfect opportunity for her to ease back into action with familiar surroundings and proper practice facilities. The team can control her minutes and monitor her progress much more effectively at home.
If you guys haven't seen the Fever schedule, so the Fever come in and they have a game on Wednesday. They then have a game on Friday. So they play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday against the Sky on the 10th. And then after the 10th, they have a Sunday, Monday in the game on Tuesday. So they have that practice then. And they're home. Okay, so they're home against the Sky, they're home against the Wings, they're home against the Mystics. My assumption is, yeah, I think they're right. I think during that homestand, because they do go on a road trip, like she's not going to be back during the road trip. They go on a 4-game road trip. She will not be back during the road trip. They're not going to get enough practice time. I wouldn't be surprised considering the fact that some of these games are at West. 2 of these games are at West. She's definitely not coming back for these games. These 2 games here. So I think, yeah, that 10th, maybe she comes back and starts practicing after the 10th. And they try to get her back for either the 13th or the 16th game. And that sounds like the most realistic.
What's particularly encouraging is how the Fever have performed in Clark's absence. They've managed to stay competitive and even picked up important wins, showing this team has depth beyond their superstar. This ability to tread water without Clark is crucial for their playoff positioning and demonstrates the growth of other players on the roster. The playoff implications of this timeline are fascinating. If Clark returns in mid-August, she'll have approximately 10 to 11 games to get back into rhythm before the postseason begins. That's actually a solid runway to regain her form and develop chemistry with teammates who have continued evolving during her absence. For the Fever's playoff hopes, staying above 500 during Clark's absence is critical. They're currently in a decent position, but every game matters in the competitive WNBA landscape. If they can go 2-3 during this difficult stretch, they'll be well positioned for Clark's return and a potential playoff run. The strategic thinking behind this timeline reveals how much the organization has learned from earlier mistakes. Rather than rushing their franchise player back, they're prioritizing long-term health over short-term gains. This patient approach could pay huge dividends if it keeps Clark healthy throughout the playoffs.
And by the way, if there's anything, they all say this about Holly Rowe, and it's like, if you want something to not get out, do not say it to Holly Rowe, because Holly Rowe will, anything said in confidence to Holly Rowe will be spread. You can assume that Holly Rowe will spread literally anything. But it says here, she also pursued some noteworthy. Stephanie White did tell us they'll be even more cautious with her return to play this time. Rowe added that Clark didn't receive adequate practice or ramp-up time when she returned from a previous groin injury to the left side. So this time they're going to make sure she has a time practice to get rhythm and timing with her teammates. We're going to be honest, like she literally, I think it was like the Monday she practiced and she played on the Tuesday. She went full, it was the next day. And like, I think that if you're looking for the Fever, like I said here, a realistic window, knowing that her status will be monitored on a day-to-day basis. It said the 3rd week of August, a pocket of Fever schedule that could be realistic.
When Clark does return, expect her to come back stronger and more motivated than ever. The extended rest should help her body recover not just from this injury, but from the accumulated wear and tear of her rookie season. Fresh legs and a properly healed body could make her even more dangerous down the stretch. The Fever know they need Clark to make a serious championship run. While they've proven they can compete without her, reaching their ultimate goals requires their superstar to be at full strength. This careful approach to her return suggests they're thinking beyond just making the playoffs to actually competing for a title. ESPN's reporting aligns perfectly with what makes sense from both medical and strategic perspectives. The 3rd week of August gives Clark time to fully heal, properly prepare, and return when the team can best support her comeback. It's a timeline that prioritizes long-term success over immediate gratification. Exactly what championship organizations do. Mark your calendars for mid-August, because that's when Caitlin Clark is expected to make her highly anticipated return to the Indiana Fever.